Hey everybody, JCB here at the Awesomeness, and you're watching the Awesomeness YouTube channel. Welcome back. This is part 3 of my trip to San Francisco and California's Great America. We left off last time after having a fun day, seeing some very touristy parts of San Francisco. So without any further ado, let's jump right into day 3 as we got a lot of ground to cover. We woke up early and headed out on foot to a place called Home Skillet for breakfast. Ah, beautiful San Francisco. Reviews online were decent, so we thought we'd give it a shot, though the self-serve coffee situation was a bit odd. The food also wasn't great. That's Kraft Singles on my wife's food there. We then collected our rental car and hit the road for Santa Clara and California's Great America. Other than Knott's very fun, this is the first Cedar Fair park that I've ever been to, and I was pretty excited. One small bit of planning that we did do was when we bought tickets for California's Great America. It'd be really easy to just buy like the cheapest day ticket and call it done. But we wanted to make sure that we were able to do everything we wanted to do and also just be realistic about this trip because we knew we were going to need lunch and maybe a snack. We knew we'd be thirsty. We knew we'd want to take photos, and we knew we were only going to be there for one day. And we didn't want to miss out on any rides because the lines were too long or we spent too much time in other lines. So we opted for the all-inclusive pass. After figuring out and adding up the cost of parking and entrance and food and drinks and photos and then the fast pass, it became clear that the all-inclusive pass was the best deal out there. Not only did it give us entrance to the park, not only did it pay for our parking, but it gave us free food every 90 minutes, which is insane. It gave us free souvenir bottles. It gave us the ability to skip the lines on all of the rides we wanted to go on. It was by far the best choice, so that's what we went with. I don't know why Six Flags doesn't offer a similar package for day passes. I feel like they're missing out. Anyway, we arrived at the park at about 11:30 a.m. and headed inside. My first impression was that the park's plaza was a very Disney-esque place, with whimsical music playing over loudspeakers and everything absolutely pristine, especially the arrangement of hedges and flowers in the center. Our initial plan was to hit the Star Tower, followed by the gondola ride to get a lay of the land, but Star Tower was down for maintenance. One cool thing is they have these QR codes posted on signs around the park denoting good selfie spots and photo opportunities. If you have a Fun Pics Day Pass or whatever, the QR code unlocks a special frame. Though I guess none of the pictures that I took with my phone actually saved. I don't know if that's something I did wrong or something the app did wrong, but I searched through the whole app, I searched through every folder on my phone. I can't find any of the photos that I took using those QR codes. We decided to get a Gold Striker since it was right there and I had heard good things about it. We entered through the Fast Pass entrance since it looked like there was quite a bit of a line. And sure enough, the line was fairly long, so the investment in our Fast Passes paid off immediately. Within a few moments, our train arrived at the loading station and we were on our first ride of the day. I feel like this is the fastest wooden coaster I have ever been on. I'd have to check some Wikipedia pages on the other Woodies I've ridden, but this thing certainly felt very, very fast. So we just rode Gold Striker. That was our first ride of the day. It was pretty fun. I liked it. Yeah, it was kind of like Apocalypse, but faster, I feel like. Next up, we decided to try out Patriot. Again, we entered through the Fast Pass lane, but this time it didn't seem as necessary. Apparently, this ride is not quite as popular as Gold Striker. And I can kind of see why. These B&M coasters are all too samey. And while they're super smooth, the end result is they feel too safe, and it really undercuts the thrill normally associated with a roller coaster. So we just got off Patriot, very much like Scream, although maybe a little faster. There was one spot where it kind of sped up. That was really fun. I like it. We then went to one of the stands and got our souvenir bottles and filled them up. These are the daily bottles. What I mean by that is these bottles only give you free refills the day you purchase them. So if I went back tomorrow and tried to use this bottle, they would want to charge me 99 cents for every refill. That said, many of the places you can get refills weren't really attended by anybody actually watching, and when there was someone there, they were typically an underpaid teenager who probably couldn't care less if you got a free refill or not. In fact, throughout the entire day, only one person actually asked to scan the barcode on my cup. Anyway, next up was Railblazer. This is the coaster I've been dying to go on. If I had to choose, I would pick RMC as my favorite roller coaster manufacturer. What they do with their wooden conversions, their RMC conversions, is amazing and breathes new life into classic coasters. Not only that, but their Raptor and T-Rex designs are some of the most beautiful, unique, and exciting roller coaster designs out there today, at least as far as I'm aware. Six Flags Fiesta Texas got their RMC Raptor the year after I visited that park. Railblazer is almost an exact duplicate of that coaster, so I was very excited to get on my very first RMC Raptor. So excited, in fact, that I didn't film any POV footage for this ride. I just wanted to enjoy it, and it did not disappoint. I think Great America did a fantastic job with the on-ride theming, creating a lot of so-called near-miss elements that really make the ride feel like it's going faster than it actually is. The way you twist and turn literally around the single monorail track is really fun, and I had a blast on this ride. It made me want a T-Rex at Six Flags Magic Mountain even more. So we just got on Railblazer, and that was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just the shoulder straps were a little rough on her shoulders. Next up, we decided to try Demon, what many consider the worst ride at the park. I immediately started getting concerned when the line had some decent theming. There's no hard and fast rule on this, but it seems like parks overcompensate for bad rides with line theming to draw people in. Just got off Demon, did not care for that ride. Maybe a little woozy, it was also really rough. She smacked her head. And shade. It's like Magic Mountain's the only park that doesn't have one of these. Next we went to Maggie's Smokehouse and fried chicken for lunch. We put on our dining wristbands and got some pretty delicious food. Their sides were a little bland, but the barbecue sauces are amazing. Definitely a great place to eat. Next up we got our caricature. This is a tradition we started last year and we now have to kind of retroactively fix. You see, for our wedding we got a caricature done at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which we then had our guests sign. But it wasn't until last year, when we were in St. Louis, that we decided we should get a new caricature at every park we visit. So this is a new caricature that we got at California's Great America, and I want to give a shout out to the artist who drew this. She has an Instagram that you can follow. Click that link in the description below. Next up, we rode the Grizzly. Who stood up? I want to know who stood up. According to the now defunct BestRollerCoasterPoll.com, the Grizzly was voted the worst wooden coaster 15 years in a row, from 1994 to 2009. This ride was retracked in 2014, and most of the roughness people complained about appears to be gone, but it's still a very boring ride.
On a ride, it has to be mellow. Because otherwise I'm like this and this, like this. Yeah. I'm not like, yeah.
So I don't know if it was the worst wooden roller coaster. It's the worst thrill. Like, it's not exciting.
So then that
it's not a bad ride.
But then that makes it the worst.
It makes it the least thrilling. For sure. It's the boringness. But it's not like super rough or painful. Like, I feel like the worst ride should be like super rough and painful. The worst thing about this one is just that boring. But it's nice and smooth. So like little kids would love this one.
I did need a bug.
It's true. You did need a bug. You want a picture of the big creepy teddy bear? Yeah. Alright. We walked through Planet Snoopy and got a feel for the kiddie area, and this is the one spot that kinda feels like Knott's. Next up, we went on Psycho Mouse. As silly as it sounds, I love these wild mouse coasters. They're so simple and yet very effective. Sometimes they're a tad rough, but never to the point of causing pain, at least not for me. I would love to see one that's full size, like a hyper wild mouse with like a 200-foot drop. The first one we ever rode together was Goofy's Sky School at California Adventure, but I think Psycho Mouse is even better. Also, and I was not at all expecting this to happen, but while we were waiting in line for Psycho Mouse, I actually got recognized by somebody who was waiting in line there also, and they jumped ahead to say hi to me, and I gave them stickers and stuff. I didn't catch your name. I'm very sorry about that. Leave a comment down below, and I'll give you another shout out in my next video. It was really cool to see you there. I was not expecting anybody to recognize me at a park that's not a Six Flags park, let alone one so far away from where I actually live. So very cool to meet you. Again, sorry I totally either didn't get your name at all or completely forgot it, but it was great seeing you there. Thank you so much for being a fan of the channel. Just smack something off to the side. Yeah. Great America has a lot of these photo kiosks that they're on-ride photo stands, but we can only get one of them to actually scan our card, and of course the cameras weren't running on that one ride. Just remembered we forgot to talk about Psycho Mouse.
Fun time, fun time!
Yeah, it's like Goofy's Flight School or whatever it's called at Disneyland.
My favorite.
I really appreciate how much work goes into keeping the park looking beautiful.
The taste of New Orleans, I thought there'd be water up to our knees.
Next was going to be Flight Deck, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. So the long and short of it is, right as we were about to go, the ride broke, and they made everybody get off the train, and they started setting it empty, and so we just kind of moved on, which kind of sucks, because I was talking to the ride attendant while we were strapping into the very front seat, and he was talking about how much smoother that ride is than Kong at Discovery Kingdom, which is kind of a similar type of ride. So I was getting really excited to actually go on it, and then it broke. And so, yeah, maybe next time. The gondola ride that we were going to try is called Delta Flyer. But by this point in the day, we kind of already had the layout of the park, so we didn't really need to ride it. And it had broken down several times earlier in the day, at one point leaving people stranded in like the exact middle of the ride for like 20 minutes. And so it was closed for the rest of the time that we were there, and they were just running empty carts like for the rest of the day. Next up was the park's 4D ride, Mass Effect New Earth. Again, you wear 3D glasses and sit in a motion controlled seat. I know absolutely nothing about Mass Effect, but regardless, I still enjoyed this ride. The ride operator lady at the front reacting to what's on screen was the best.
We just went on the Mass Effect New Earth 4D hologram ride. Was it recording the first time?
Journey.
Okay. And what'd you think?
That was amazing. That was my favorite thing today.
It was a lot of fun.
I had so much fun.
It was
She
good.
So awesome.
Yeah, there's like a actress in the front pretending to like fly the ship, and she was really good. It was, added a whole new thing to it.
Lastly, we went on Rip Roaring Rapids, a tube ride like Roaring Rapids and Magic Mountain. Again, we entered through the Fast Pass lane, skipping a big long wait in the heat. These rides are always a ton of fun. I don't care which park you go to, they never really disappoint. Some have better layouts than others, and this one didn't exactly get us soaked, but we still got a little wet and really enjoyed every moment of it. With the exception of Demon, I enjoyed just about everything at this park. The beautiful landscaping and theming go a long way towards creating a great experience. And having the all-inclusive package definitely helps.
So that was Cedar Fair's California Great America.
Welcome to California's Great America. The Bay Area's favorite theme park.
It's our favorite theme park.
Today, is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
So I had a blast. I thought it was a lot of fun. There were some great rides.
And walk direct to the nearest open terminal.
Yeah. So continuing our conversation, because there's noisy outside, our favorite ride was definitely Railblazer.
Yeah, I liked Gold Striker the best for me.
Oh, okay. I like Gold Striker. I like Railblazer. Second best was Psycho Mouse for me.
Psycho Mouse.
As goofy as that is, I love that ride. Like goofy as it is.
Yeah.
Goofy's physical. Least favorite was the Demon, like hands down.
Viper.
Yes, it's Viper of this park. And
Yeah,
other
it's
people in line we were talking to were also saying it's like the worst ride. You smacked your head.
Smacked the back of my head, and then it threw our heads forward.
Threw your head down really hard. Which I never felt that pain before.
That
today.
hurt.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah, and then also I just felt really woozy afterward. It might be because we hadn't had anything since breakfast. It might be completely unrelated to the ride, but we've been on other rides and I didn't feel that way. But Demon, man, that just messed me up really bad. Overall, though, the park's great. It was a lot of fun. If we lived closer, we'd probably come here all the time. It's really fun. I am excited to see what other Cedar Fair parks are like Cedar Point and all the different people we were talking about. Someday we will get over to that part of the country. Yeah, so where are we going to next, love?
We're gonna go to Santa Cruz, the Boardwalk.
Nice. There is a 100-year-old roller coaster there.
And they filmed the Lost Boys scene over there from the Boardwalk. That's the Boardwalk.
Cool.
And I heard other movies, but that's where we're headed next.
Nice. Awesome.
So it was just about 6, maybe a little after, when we left California's Great America and drove a little more than an hour to the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. A colleague of ours had suggested that we check it out since we'd be so close and mentioned the almost 100-year-old roller coaster. They were having a special sponsored by Coca-Cola where if you bought a Coke product, you can get unlimited rides for $15, which is a steal. So even though I don't drink soda anymore, we got 2 Coke products and went inside. The first thing we did was ride the gondola, partly to again get an idea of the layout, and partly because the place was pretty crowded and navigating that mess didn't sound very fun. I personally loved the gondola ride, but my wife was a little nervous. I think if we lived closer to this place, we'd probably go every chance we got. I think as a teenager, this would be the place to go after school. Next up was the Giant Dipper. As you can see by the decorations in this ride queue, this ride is designated an historic landmark. In fact, this year marks the 95th anniversary of the Giant Dipper, and I was really excited to ride it, especially at night. For as old as it is, the Giant Dipper is fairly smooth and has a nice mixture of wooden coaster elements. If the line wasn't so long, I would have gone on it again. Next, we went on the Haunted Castle, a dark ride that, though entirely revamped in the mid-2000s, has occupied the same space since 1932, known then as Dante's Inferno. This is a charming, if not particularly scary, dark ride attraction. We wandered around a little longer, saw this creepy thing, and then we headed to dinner at a place called The Reef, since the Boardwalk was closing. We then made the hour or so drive back to San Francisco, where we ran into a little bit of a problem. We got back after midnight, and it turns out most of the parking lots close, and they lock the gates, and you can't get in to park your car. And because it was after midnight, things were looking a little sketchier than usual, so we drove around until we found an open lot, which apparently there's still a couple. We saw some guy peeing on someone else's car, which was great, and then we paid for overnight parking at the little kiosk thing, called an Uber, went back to the hotel hoping to God nobody vandalized our rental car. Overall, California's Great America was a fantastic park. It makes me want to visit all the other Cedar parks across the country, and we might have to make a point of doing so whenever possible. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, the final part of this adventure where we go to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom for the second time. It should be coming out tomorrow unless something weird happens, so make sure you tune in for that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as I release new videos every day for the next 16 days. So until next time, keep being awesome. Out that literally right next to the hotel, and I do mean literally, in the empty lot right next to the hotel, there's a Feed the Homeless organization that was doing like a free hot dog barbecue thing, and they were shouting into a bullhorn like every 15 seconds, "Free hot dogs! Free hot dogs!" at all hours